Hi guys, so this video is just purely for the Explain Gliders group on Facebook. I should put something on YouTube maybe tomorrow when I've tidied things up a little bit. So today I built my new shiny new sim. Tell you what we got. We got an MSI x570A Pro motherboard, cost about 168 quid. We got a Ryzen 5 3600X Gen 4 processor. We got a Corsair 1TB M2 drive, goes in the PCIe 4 slot on the motherboard, and we got a 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance RAM, calling it 3000 megahertz. So not a bad deal. The target was a twofold target. One, build a sim for under 1500 quid, and the target load time of 30 seconds. Now we've kind of achieved that. I'll explain why as we go along. This first screen that you're looking at here loaded up in 4 seconds flat. Now what we're loading up first of all is a plain vanilla out of the box X-Plane. That is to say, we've disabled all the Orbex stuff and all my 10 meter meshes. We've just downloaded Great Britain and Europe from the X-Plane site. So this is the thing that they would sell you for $59, which is an out of box option with auto gen scenery. So I'm going to start a new flight. And I'm going to put the clock on this because it should load in about 30 seconds flat. So I just want to make sure I've got the correct location. Yep, north end of our airfield. The only other thing I'm loading is our default airport scenery, because otherwise it would just look too flat, and all the tests are going to use that default scenery. So this is X-Plane out of box, plain vanilla auto gen scenery. I'm going to set the timer on this now, and let's just see how we go on. Get my stopwatch ready, reset, and 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, my last attempt at a sim, which dates back from 2014, although very good at the time, not too bad at all throughout the 10 run. When we got to X-Plane 11, it just went horribly wrong. The load time went up to about 9 minutes. That's from clicking that start flight button to actually getting into the scenery, so I can actually start a flight. So the target on all of this was to try and get that load time down. I managed to get it down to about 6 minutes just by changing a spinning rust disk to an SSD drive. So we've just come up there in 44 seconds, 44.97 seconds. And as you can see there, the frame rate is not too shabby. It's 80, 81, 79, 81, something like that. So I'm just going to take you over for a quick test flight, because I'm going to repeat this with the Orbex scenery, and then I'm going to repeat it with the 10 meter mesh scenery from RC Simulations, and we'll just see what happens to the frame rate. So I'm going to do a quick launch, and then I'm going to save the flight so I can repeat the flight with different scenery. I hope this works. I've never tried it before. So here we go. Right, so you can see the field is quite undulating, albeit the trees are the wrong size. And God knows what X-Plane have done with the launching on 36 release 1, because it is so damn slow it's to be unworkable. I'm going to have to report this back to Austin. But yeah, and I forgot to set the altimeter as well, so never mind. And then it starts off slow, and then it just goes through the roof as it always did before, which is hopeless. We're getting up into the yellow line now, which we never do. Richard, I've not tried your X-Winch yet. I'll do that tomorrow because it's got a bit late now. So that village over there that I'm pointing to now, way too close. I don't know where they've got the data from for their autogen scenery, but that is just way too close. It should be about here. Anyway, I'm going to turn the aircraft now, bear with me a sec, and we'll just have a look at the scenery. The main thing is, I'm going to go down to the bottom end, turn around and come back, because the other thing that's all wrong is that the elevations are all wrong, basically. The land class data must be hopelessly out. That is just way too flat. And as you can see, there are no peri tracks around our airfield, which there is in real life. And which of course even Orbex picks that up because they use ortho for XP to overlay the orthos. Those houses down there, again, I don't know where they've got those from, but it's just they're not Peak District houses whatsoever. There is actually a big industrial complex in the middle of that lot, which just doesn't show at all. And everything is just basically too shallow. There's not enough slope on the hills or anything. So I'm going to take it down to the top end of the ridge, and I'm going to turn it around, and you can see it, and then I'm going to stop it there, and we'll compare it. But we're getting a reasonable frame rate. This 84, not too bad at all. I was hoping for 90, but obviously we're not going to get that. So I'm just going to check, see where I am, because I need to just be about level with that cement works chimney. And we'll turn around now and just have a look down the ridge, and you can see and compare it with the other demonstrations that I'm going to do in a minute. So, let's bring it up to the ridge. Now you can see our airfield. I'm going to have to just swing it out a little bit because we're drifting in. I've got a crosswind here. So you can see our airfield there. There's no airfield boundary. I hope you're going to compare this to the next one. There should be a peri track running all the way around here. There should be some stone walls here. And it just looks hopeless. Right, I'm going to pause that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to load it again in a second with the Orbex scenery, and then we'll do the third one. This time, guys, we're going to load Orbex, but without the overlays. This is purely the orthos. And the last time I tried this test, it was actually marginally faster than X-Plane. Presumably that's because it's not loading up the autogen scenery. So it shouldn't be too long. Okay, so yeah, that's marginally faster at 31.88 seconds, and strangely enough, the frame rate is higher. So here we go. But unfortunately, you noticed with the Orbex scenery that our airfield is as flat as a pancake. Now, people tell me that's because they've used an early version of Ortho for XP, which had a habit of flattening areas that the land class data said was an airfield. Which is kind of crazy because, you know, there's only one world. It's either flat or it isn't, and ours isn't flat. But now we're getting a 9900 100 frames per second frame rate, which is pretty damn good. Unfortunately, the same problem. The data, the area is still flat, and I don't know what's going on with my joystick, but I'll have to do a bit of tweaking tomorrow on that. Might be some. I might have to just slacken things off a little bit. Maybe because I've been used to having such a low frame rate for ages. I need to just tweak the settings on the roll and the pitch. But yeah, it's still fairly flattish. Not quite the right elevation. I'm suspecting they're still using a 90 meter mesh or something like that, maybe even a 30 meter mesh. But yeah, and when we come to do the next test, you'll see that this ridge area over here is just, whoops, where does that come from? This ridge area over here is just the wrong colour. It's not got the right hues for the Peak District. All of which, of course, matters when you're used to flying in an area. Just make sure we're near the cement works chimney again, and then we'll turn around and come back and have a look. but at least the peri tracks are in place, albeit the airfield is just flat and horrible and not how it is in real life. So here we go, I'm going to put the turn in. Come down and have a look at the so there's our airfield. You can see it's got a peri track around it now, and it's the right shape and the colours are the right hue. Unfortunately, because it's flattening it, you'll find when we go past it that there's a big mound at the back which just isn't there in real life. This has been reported to Orbex a number of times because it's also affecting Talgarth, which is another nice flying site in the UK, because that is flattened as well. All the sides of the plateau that it's on are just horrible, which is a shame really, because at that kind of frame rate it would be really nice and useful to have. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. Right, that's the end of that one. I'm going to throw in the just before I do that, just have a look at the hues of the grass and stuff, because again it's just very washed out and well, not very nice. And in a minute I'll show you what the Peak District looks like in real life. Right, stop that video, onto the... So this is the photorealistic scenery from RC Simulations, which was originally licensed from a company called Intermap Technologies. It is a 10 meter mesh, and I think you'll see the difference the minute the scenery loads up. I did have a look at the Intermap Technologies site the other day, and they actually do a 5 meter mesh now, although I can't afford a Cray supercomputer, so I guess we'll stick with 10 meter for now. So we're coming up to 29 seconds now, almost finished, slightly longer. You can tell straight away that the colours are a lot better. The airfield is undulating as it should be, and away we're going to go. And you'll see the difference in the scenery when we get up into the air. And the colours are just so much nicer. Teach me to do my cockpit checks before I take off. ASI is out. So yeah, sun is reflecting on the valleys and the hills exactly as it should do. All the fields are all the different hues. This is just the way Campo should be, and I suspect it's the way a lot of places around the world should be when you're comparing high quality 10 meter mesh scenery with the stuff that Orbex have foisted on us. And I mean that in all sincerity. I mean, just look at the hues on that. That is perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah, so we'll go down to the bottom end again and turn around, and you'll see our airfield in all its glory with all its undulations. I mean, the Peak District is notorious, well, not notorious, noted for the colours of its heathers. Let's have a look at that edge over there. That's the edge I pointed out before, how horrible and wishy-washy it was. That's a clearly defined edge. It's called Stanage Edge, and we usually make for that when we're going off cross-country down to Matlock Bath. You know, and it's August and it's 5:30, and those shadows and colours on the hillsides are just perfect because the elevations are correct. The elevations are about as perfect as you can get them without going to a 5 meter mesh. I suppose it'd be a lot better then, but as I said, can't afford a Cray supercomputer. So until AMD come out with the next generation chip, I'll be happily settled for this. You notice the frame rate though has dropped quite significantly. We're now on 54, whereas before we were on 100. So that's the trade-off, guys. You're going to take a tremendous frame rate hit but I would seriously consider, if you're flying in the UK, to forget Orbex, just go and download or get the software from RC Simulations. Bob unfortunately died recently, but I believe his widow is carrying on the business. And if she isn't, I'm going to make a play for it and see if I can become an agent, because I love this scenery so much. I mean, look at our airfield now. Trees are in the right place. Well, those are actually planted by me, they're part of the airfield. But the next test, bear with me for one more test, because the nice thing you can do is you can actually use the Orbex overlays with any base mesh that you want. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to keep this RC Simulations photorealistic scenery loaded, but I'm going to activate the Orbex overlays with all the 3D objects, and then I think you'll find that you're in for an absolute treat. Just bear with me 1 second, I'll close this one down and get the next one going. Okay, so I deliberately didn't make you wait around for that load because I knew exactly what was going to happen. It actually peaked at 1 minute and 4 seconds. So loading all of the Orbex 3D objects added an extra 34 seconds or an extra 30 seconds onto the load time. Not a problem for me, my decision. I'll happily accept 1 minute 4 seconds to load up this superb scenery. So yeah, let's go and take it for a spin. Those trees are perfect, they're the right height at the end of our airfield. Frame rate has dropped, but you know, with all these 3D objects, what can you expect? 43, 44. I fully expect that to go up again when I get my new AMD, whatever the 5600 is it, or 5700, I don't know. They were out of stock, which is why I've not got it today. I'm going to have to wait about 10 days to come back into stock. But that's a new graphics card that works on the PCIe 4 express lanes, so we can expect some great speeds out of that, I think. Of course, you never know with these things, but I'm aiming to get to 50 frames a second with all the scenery fully loaded. Okay, so now you can see, as I was saying to you before, that village was in the wrong place before. You can see how far away it is now. That's exactly where it should be. So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go up the field, up to the other end of the ridge. And then I'm going to do something really, really whizzy that should blow your mind. Particularly if you fly in the north of England, because I'm going to show you some things that until I discovered the Zoom facility, I didn't even know you could do. Again, that ridge is now perfect. The trees are in the right place. The village is looking pretty good. There's that little industrial complex I mentioned just going to the left of the cockpit now. Let me move out of the way. And it's looking pretty awesome. Right, without further ado, I'm just going to point it over there in a minute. Because I'm going to cheat now. I'm going to pause the sim, call up the local map, find my aircraft, and drag myself over to Sheffield. Always does this on me. Okay, here we go. Sheffield in all its glory. If you don't believe me, there's the football ground. Let's just pause that and zoom in. You can even read the writing on the stand somewhere, where it says "Forged by Steel." Look at that. Okay, let's take it back. Let's move on. You can see Over in the far distance there, the wind farms, complete with spinning windmills, all going in the right direction. And if you're used to flying around our area, then one thing I'm going to show you in a minute is a famous landmark that we always head to when we're going cross country to one of our other favourite clubs, which is called Pocklington. There they are. Draxby Power Station is by the M62, and from there we head off to Pocklington, Full Sutton, which is an exclusion zone. But I mean, that is the detail that's within Orbex. So my advice to the Orbex people is forget your orthos, just sell us the blasted 3D objects, the overlays, because frankly we can do better than what you give us with your orthos, I'm afraid. So that's it, guys, that's it for today. Mission accomplished. 30 seconds load time, and add an extra 30 seconds on for all the 3D objects, which in my opinion is pretty damn good. So yeah, see you all again soon. I'll do some testing tomorrow with the X-Winch and with Chris's problem with the Antares, although I really got to get my own joystick sorted out before I try testing that. See you again soon. Cheers, bye for now.